Matt Furter and FanSided here at Steve Weatherford. Steve, what do you think of the Giants' picks so far? Getting Sterling Shepard today, and then yesterday, big move in Eli Apple.
You know what? One thing that I have learned to really appreciate is the way that the New York Giants and Jerry Reese in particular stays true to his formula going in and to that draft best available. And he won't make a stretch to draft a guy because a position needs filled. He truly ranks the players before the draft starts, and whoever is best available, and I've spoken to him about it, he says his decision is made very, very easy when it comes time for them to make their selection because he does his homework. He has a ranking system, and so when it comes time for them to put in their bid, they know exactly who they're getting.
The Giants are a team that really a lot of people think might take a real step forward this year. A lot of moves in free agency. Went got Janoris Jenkins, Damon Harrison comes over from the Jets. How good do you think the Giants can be in 2016?
Well, I mean, the one glaring weakness was the fact that we had one of the, or if not the worst, defense in the National Football League. I mean, you look just in one game in particular to put up 49 points and still lose the game against the Saints down in New Orleans. That tells you something. So we made a big splash in free agency, went out and spent $200 million all on defense. And, I think if we can continue to improve the players we have on the team and add some impact players in this year's draft with the moves we made in free agency, I'm really, really looking forward to the Giants doing big things this year.
Victor Cruz, I think, is a linchpin for the team. Really would add that extra element with Odell Beckham and now Sterling Shepard coming in. Do you think he can get back to the form he had before he tore his patella?
Well, nobody's done that before. Nobody's actually come back from the injury that he's had and been even a shadow of what they were before. So one thing I think Victor has working in his favor is the duration of time that has gone by since he sustained the injury. He didn't play at all last year, which may end up being a blessing in disguise, and he's still young. I think he's 27 years old, and he's a good personal friend of mine. I know he takes really good care of his body. He trains hard. He's a positive person, and he's got a lot of people surrounding him that lift him up, that encourage him. I know his aspirations and his hopes for this upcoming season are very, very big, and I'm right there in that foxhole, encouraging him and pushing him along. I hope that he is able to come back to what Cruz was in 2012, 2013, because if he can come through in a season and have another 1,000-yard season, you add that with the explosiveness of Odell Beckham Jr., that's a very, very nasty dynamic duo at the wide receiving corps.
Last thing, Tom Coughlin moves on after so many years, a couple of championships. Do you think Ben McAdoo is the right guy to take over that mantle and try to lead the Giants back to the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. You think if you look at statistically Eli Manning's career on the whole in 12 years, what he's been able to do statistically last year was the greatest career of his life. And he didn't make the playoffs. He obviously didn't win a Super Bowl. But one thing you have to really value is the amount of time that you have with an elite quarterback like that has the ability to get your team into the playoffs and win championships, and obviously Eli Manning knows how to do that. Jerry Reese, John Mara, they know that their time with an elite quarterback is limited. At the very most, if they're lucky, they can get 6 more years out of Eli, and that's going to put him at 40 years old. Conservatively, you have 3 great years with him. You have to make him count, and you have to make him count soon. So I know they would like to get at least one more Super Bowl ring out of Eli Manning.
Well, if he's like his brother, he could play at 40, not be that good, and still win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's one difference between Eli Manning and Peyton Manning is the defense that Peyton Manning won with is a little bit different than the defense that we have with the New York Giants if you're talking about last year. So we'd love to be able to build a defense that is that intense and ferocious as the Denver Broncos were in their defense last year. But you don't want to rely on your defense. You want to rely on the leader on that team, the best player in that franchise history, and that's Eli Manning.
Well, thanks a lot, Steve. Appreciate it.
You got it, man.